The morning sun glared against the dusty construction site as Emma lifted a beam twice her size. The men around her smirked, trading glances and whispers. "Careful, rookie," one sneered. "Oh, that's not a coffee mug." The laughter that followed was sharp, cutting through the hum of machinery. But Emma didn't flinch. Her grip tightened. The muscles in her arms held steady, like she'd done this 1,000 times before. They saw a frail new worker. What they didn't see was the Navy SEAL insignia tucked beneath her sleeve, a memory she had vowed to leave behind. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you were rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening. By noon, the heat was unforgiving. Sweat traced down Emma's neck as the foreman barked orders. Tossing her menial tasks, fetching tools, sweeping debris, carrying pipes heavier than most could lift. Every insult felt like a weight pressing down, yet she carried it all in silence. She wasn't there to prove herself, she just needed the work. And the quiet. But silence has a way of testing you, especially when others mistake it for weakness. When a steel girder slipped from a crane's chain, chaos erupted. Workers scattered, shouting, frozen in panic. The massive beam swung wildly, snapping cables, crashing into scaffolding. Dust exploded into the air. And right beneath that falling metal was Jake, the same man who'd mocked her minutes earlier, now pinned under a half-collapsed frame. Everyone hesitated. Everyone except Emma. In that split second, her instincts, buried deep under months of trying to live a normal life, roared back to life. She sprinted forward, heart pounding in perfect rhythm, vision narrowing to a single focus point. The air trembled with screams, metal grinding against metal, but her movements were calm, controlled, commanding. "Get that chain steady," she shouted, her voice cutting through the panic. The men froze, not out of disobedience, but awe. There was authority in her tone, the kind that came from someone who had given orders when lives were on the line. As she leveraged the jack beneath the beam, Jake groaned, blood streaking his arm. You're crazy. You'll get crushed," he gasped. "Not today," she muttered, eyes locked. "Now push on my count." They did. Together, the beam shifted inch by inch until Jake was dragged clear. He coughed, trembling, looking up at the woman who'd just saved his life. Dust floated in golden rays of sunlight around her, her expression unreadable. Someone whispered, "How did she know what to do?" And that's when Mark, the site manager, noticed the tattoo at the edge of her glove, the trident. The Navy SEAL emblem. Recognition spread like wildfire. The murmurs turned into stunned silence. She's a SEAL," one man breathed. Jake's eyes widened. The same man who mocked her now looked at her with disbelief and guilt. Emma straightened, brushing the dust off her hands. She said quietly. "Not anymore." But her voice carried something that no title could erase, earned respect. Later that evening, the team gathered around her, no longer mocking, no longer commanding. Jake approached, shame clouding his face. "I owe you my life," he said softly. Emma smiled faintly. "It's part of the job." "But why didn't you tell us?" he asked. She looked at the horizon, where the sun melted into the steel and dust. "Because people treat you different when they know your past. Sometimes, you just want to be seen as human again." There was a stillness, a collective breath that spoke louder than words. And in that silence, the men understood something deeper than hierarchy or pride. The next day Emma walked onto the site again, but this time no one barked orders. Tools were offered, respect unspoken but real. And when she lifted that beam again, it wasn't to prove her strength. It was to remind herself that purpose doesn't fade, it just finds new forms. Because courage doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. And as the evening sun burned low, Emma's shadow stretched long across the ground, a silent echo of the battles she'd fought, and the peace she'd finally earned. If this story moved you, leave a comment. Share it with someone who needs a reminder of quiet strength. And subscribe to Cinematic Whispers for more stories that touch the soul, one truth at a time.